This video focuses on Act 2 items and items that maybe aren't talked about quite so much.
See if there's anything you need.
This does mean that I won't be looking at the very best items that there are in Act 2, but I'm looking at the ones that maybe give a slightly different sort of effect, ones you might not look at so often. And the problem is, there are loads of items in Act 2, and when there are some very powerful items, such as here the Yuan-Ti's Scale Mail, which we can get really from the beginning of Act 2, it's a medium armor, but you can add your full dexterity modifier to it. So you can have someone, let's say a Starion here, if I gave him, I think he's already got even medium armor proficiency, his armor class is going to shoot through the roof. But I'm not here to talk about this sort of item today. I'm going to talk through a few here with Quartermaster Talli, and I'm going to start with the incandescent staff. So first of all, it gives you resistance to fire damage, obviously for tieflings or maybe certain rangers. This wouldn't be useful, you can't stack fire resistance or any resistance for that matter. But you do gain Firebolt as a cantrip. Is it the best cantrip? No, but it's decent to have. And you get Fireball once per long rest, so you can't just spam Fireballs. But who wants to say no to an extra Fireball per day? And on top of all that, we do have a +1 to ranged spell attack, so this might be overlooked because there are already staves that give a +1 to attack rolls and spell save DC, but we've got a lot of other effects here, lots of other abilities there. I just want to make sure no one does miss out the Amulet of Harpers. It's actually very strong. Gives you advantage on wisdom saving throws checks, but advantage on wisdom saving throws is what we really want there. And you get shield once per long rest. Not amazing, but it's lovely to have. And it's cheap as well. Alright, some more items that are often overlooked. The Mighty Cloth here. Now I can understand why this gets overlooked because the armor class is very low, and I know a lot of people don't like how it looks. It probably works best with a barbarian. But why would you want this? Well, you get a +2 to strength to a maximum of 20, but I like that because if you get your strength at 18, then you don't need to use an extra feat or ability score improvement to get it up to 20. You can put it up there with this already. You've constantly got advantage on strength checks, so throwing and shoving is really what that's for, and a few skill checks out there. And carrying capacity doubled. On a strong character, that's amazing. Someone can become your donkey. Also have Bull Rush. This isn't that great. In one sense it's nice because it can knock people prone, which is kind of cool, but it's only available while raging, and it uses your whole action, not just an attack action. The Bull Rush is unlikely to be the thing you do most turns. But yeah, this is a barbarian piece of kit more than anything else. Saying that though, monks could wear it. If you're going for a strength monk that doesn't rely on elixirs, this one way to boost your strength. The next item I think is kind of interesting. It's quite unique. The Defender Great Axe. So it does your usual 1d12 damage plus your strength. And it is a +2 weapon. Not bad. But it's very unique because we have a defensive attack. When making your first attack of the round, you can reduce this weapon's enchantment by 1. So from +2 to +1. To increase your armor class and saving throw bonus by 1. Most of the time, you know, you can do very well in this game just by killing people before they kill you, but if you want to make some sort of defensive character, something that's just a little bit different, sacrifice a bit of attack for a bit more defense, this is the Great Axe for you. It's not too expensive either.
Take care now.
Now, also inside the Last Light Inn, we do have good old Dammon. He's got a few items worth looking at. And one example of a great weapon at this point in the game is the Darkfire Shortbow, but I think lots of people will pick that up. One that's easily overlooked, I think, is the Thornblade. While concentrating, your melee weapon deals an additional 1d4 damage. By itself, that isn't really very much. But let's say you're a ranger and you're concentrating on Hunter's Mark. That's actually 1d6 and 1d4. And on top of that, you could give someone a strange conduit ring, for example, which gives an additional 1d4 psychic damage. So you can start to stack up damage here. Plus, it gives you a single concentration spell to use once per long rest. But it is a finesse weapon, so you can put it on a character that's using dexterity and not strength. And talking about strength, we've already had one item that improves strength, but here we've got the Harmonium Halberd. So it's a +1 weapon, that's kind of cool. Strength +2. And what's interesting is the maximum here is 23, not the usual 20 we have for items that increase a stat. There is obviously a downside. We have -1 intelligence, not so bad, but -1 wisdom, that you have to be kind of careful about because the spells that force wisdom saving throws are so annoying to fail. I would suggest if you get someone with the Harmonium Halberd, you give them the Harper's Necklace. So you can boost your strength with the Mighty Cloth, and then you can boost your strength further with the Harmonium Halberd. The nice thing about this is that it's a halberd, it has extra reach, so you can hit enemies from slightly further away. The next item I've actually had to go and plant because this save file already had it in place, but literally just above Dammon, is the little kind of loft area up here. This chest is normally locked, but I've already been here in the save file. But inside you'll find the Rippling Force mail. You might know about this, but it's just kind of hidden away. It's just something you might miss. Not that it's such a bad item. Let's just examine it. So it's armor class 17, nothing to write home about. It is a heavy armor. And you gain Force Conduit when you take slashing, piercing, or bludgeoning damage, which is basically any damage from a melee weapon, or any weapon, really. If you want to build up Force Conduit, which is explained here, if you have 5 turns of it or more and you take damage, you deal an additional 1d4 damage to everyone within 6 meters. Now, there are lots of other items in the Last Light Inn and around the Last Light Inn. There is another one. I'm just going to quickly show you where it is. I made a whole video about it. Just over this way. It's really easy to miss. I don't know if I'll even be able to get it right now. Good dodging there, Shadowheart.
But at least they were buried, I suppose.
Wait, over this way. Just under here, there is the Shield of Scorching Reprisal. Alright, come on, Lazel.
Flaming fist, face smashed.
Here we are. Again, easy to miss. So it's your usual armor in terms of the armor class. Gives you shield bash, it's always a lovely reaction to have. Gives you resistance to fire damage, another source of it. And then, you, as a bonus action, you can increase your armor class by 1. And when an attacker misses you, they take 1d6 fire damage. Once per short rest though, so you can't use it all the time. But again, just a nice little item that gives something a bit different. Right, that's enough for the Last Light Inn. We're going to move to other places in Act 2 now. The next item I would like to talk about is in the Waning Moon. So after you've dealt with Disabod and your preferred method, we're going to go find an item. And I'm not talking about the rat bat that's just here. Get through the store. And I'm not talking about the punch-drunk bastard, which is in the chest on the left. I'm going to hang a right. Around we go. And in this chest here, we have the Icarus Gloves. So when the wearer deals acid damage, they also inflict noxious fumes. So hostile creatures within 3 meters, hostile to us, not hostile to the creature, take 1d4 acid damage. This is a bit misleading. There's actually a chance you will inflict noxious fumes. It doesn't seem to be fixed. So what I've gone and done is use the Drake Throat Glaive on Astarian's bow here, so he always deals acid damage. Another alternative is the Caustic Bandage, which adds 2 acid damage to all weapon attacks. Or perhaps just using arrows of acid. Now what I'm going to do here, is going to go find them. Here they are, arrow of many targets. This works best when you do have lots of enemies in a group. I'm not going to use the firearms. Or sneak attack. I want to keep everyone alive. I'm going to try and apply it to this dude as well. The Astarian is hasted. Oh, that one didn't work. Oh well. So we have to pay attention carefully. There are 3 lots of noxious fumes. 1 on this paladin, the zealot, 2 on each of these ghouls. When I go to their turn,
Time to strike.
Zoom out a bit. So the more enemies that you have around, the more damage this does, but this is easy to overlook because it's gloves. There are loads of great gloves out there, and you're not always going to have enemies quite close enough to overlap a lot of them at the same time. But it's pretty cool if you want to go for an acid-themed build. The last item that I'm going to spend time focusing on, there will be a group of items after this one, is down in the Gauntlet of Shar. Now you have to go attack some rats. Any rats you see around, keep attacking them. They're not very happy about it, understandably. And eventually you see them all running down here. So we're going to follow them down. In fact, we're just going to take a bit of a shortcut. This item I'm going to show you is maybe a bit overlooked just because it's a bit easy to miss. So kill all the rats, kill everything that comes along, and then, yeah, we'll see.
Defiant.
After killing the rats, we get this Justiciar,
Too big.
Leothendor, and kill him. And then on his corpse, we have the Justiciar's Scimitar. This is more of a curiosity than anything else, so it's kind of just a scimitar. It's light, it's finesse. If you attack with advantage, you have a chance to blind your target. And it's got a unique weapon action, Shadow Soaked Blade, add your proficiency bonus, and if the attack hits, which, well, I would hope it does, deals an additional 1d6 damage. But the really cool thing about this is it doesn't actually require any proficiency. Also, on this guy, easy to miss, Justiciar's Great Shield, so we've got the Shield Bash as I showed you before. Then we have Darkness Cloak, so once per short rest as a bonus action, create a cloud of magical darkness and immediately attempt to hide, and gives you advantage on perception checks, so great for walking around with, I would say. I want to point out that Shadar is just a trickery domain cleric. She doesn't have proficiency in scimitars, but she still gets a full attack bonus. Got a plus 10 here. Alright, I've just had a long rest, and you might see now some items appearing on the screen, item names on the screen, and they're going to be scrolling along. There's going to be quite a lot of them scrolling along, and I wonder, before I tell you, if any of you can work out what the connection is between them. So these are all items we can find in Act 2, either bought or found somewhere, and these are items that give you a spell to use once per short rest or long rest. And the point is that a lot of these items by themselves aren't good to wear permanently, because, for example, the Hammergrim Mist Amulet gives you Fog Cloud once per long rest, but if you are not too lazy to keep on switching around your equipment, especially on keyboard and mouse, find it much easier than you doing it on a controller, then you can switch these items in and out. Now, it's not possible probably to get all of these items, some of them might be mutually exclusive, but I know I find myself kind of seeing like, oh, here's the necklace that gives me Evard's Black Tentacles once per day, and I kind of ignore it and sell it. It's not even worth that much normally. But if you do bother to keep it around, it gives you a free spell. And it, yeah, just one item, just one free spell once per long rest, not that great. But I want to reiterate, if you go around switching them in and out all the time, then actually you're going to get loads more spells across that day. There's like well over 30 of them. I don't want to have a video full of 30 items. It's way too many when I'm just looking at overlooked items. But I know I overlook these items. I see them and I think to myself, well, what good is that once per long rest? So you let me know what Act 2 items you sometimes overlook, you think other people overlook, which Act 2 items do you think everyone should know about? And as I said at the beginning of the video, I'm not here to show you the best items necessarily, right? I didn't show any of the Acuity helmets, because there are 3 of them, for example, in Act 2. And if you go around looking up top builds, then they'll appear in any that pretty much use any sort of spellcasting. And for good reason. But if you want something a bit more thematic, if you've got some idea in your head, some role-playing build, then please do remember there are other items out there. Thank you for making it this far and for watching. Thank you to all the members of my channel, and I will catch you in the next one.